Bethesda devs fight back against Microsoft. Runescape players somehow get even more unhinged, and Arcane Season 2 drops a donger of a clip. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is Ginx News. The near entirety of Bethesda developers have unionized, and it might just save Bethesda. A total of 241 workers, including artists, engineers, programmers, and designers, are all coming together to form a union under the Communication Workers of America, and it's been officially recognized by Microsoft. Kinda would have been hard for them not to when it's basically the entire studio. Now, we all know the industry is going through an unprecedented era of layoffs and instability, so a large part of this is going to be around job security and fair equity. But I would go further and argue that this might be a big step in saving Bethesda. Now, that in itself is a big statement. This is the studio that made Skyrim, after all. But with Starfield massively underperforming and in general just being a huge disappointment, it's clear that cracks are starting to show. Especially as Starfield was such a monumental investment in terms of time and money. Like, let's be honest, it was saved by Game Pass. The unit sales on that thing would have been horrendous. And now the pressure is on with The Elder Scrolls 6. Make no mistake, if that is yet another mid-game, personally, I don't see Bethesda coming back from that. Ruining one of the most beloved franchises in gaming is not something gamers will forgive or forget. So how does a union help all of that? Well, as we've seen with the majority of Western game companies, the people now in charge have either completely lost touch with what people want in games, or they simply just don't care and just want to make as much money as possible. Because for the staff, you don't work in game development unless you care about making great games. Compared to other software jobs, it is underpaid and overworked. You're there because you want to make something great. It's why this year it's the indie games that have thrived. Forming a union is essential to returning some of the power to those people. Plus, it increases the chance that developers actually stick around. How many stories have we heard of games going through development hell because staff just kept coming and going? Now, maybe it's just wishful thinking to assume that this will have any real significant change, but boy, is it a step in the right direction. So what do you think? Does the Bethesda union give you hope for its future games? Should other studios follow in their footsteps? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Over the weekend, I was at a stag do for one of my old school friends, and you know how it goes. We did all sorts of activities, had a few drinks, and just had a good old time hanging out. Although I did catch one of my friends using their phone quite a bit, and interested in what they were up to, I took a peek, and it was RuneScape. Bro was upping his fishing while at a stag do. In fact, apparently, out of the 5.5 months he's been playing old school RuneScape, he's clocked over 30 days of game time. So yeah, the stag do quickly devolved into an intervention. But man, it was just more evidence of how RuneScape players are just a different breed, which is why I thought it was very funny that the following story popped up over the weekend. Because one very, very unhinged RuneScape player has decided to spend their entire week killing chickens. 16,000 chickens, to be exact, by hand. That's 100,000 feathers plucked in just 7 days. The player in question, Mordor. Good thing Beetlejuice rules don't apply, as I would have just summoned Sauron. So why would they partake in such a murderous rampage? It was to make 100,000 arrow shafts that, you guessed it, need feathers to create. Not that you can't just buy these feathers for very cheap from the shops, but that would make too much sense for Mordor. After all, they said, and I quote, "I like my feathers covered in blood." And if things couldn't get worse, bro took notes. They tracked their longest one-hit kill streak. That was 13 insta-killed chickens. They had 8 consecutive kills, which dropped 0 feathers. Big rip. They also faced 4 mighty opponents, which they dubbed Clucky Balboa, who took a record 5 hits to kill. Now, this is where I wish I could say I looked at my friend's RuneScape name and it read Mordor. Sadly, it seems his victim of choice was fish as opposed to chickens. So don't be chicken and don't be coy, and instead sign up to our Patreon, Ginx Plus. There's a load of stuff on there from our back catalogue, as well as exclusive content that you can't find anywhere else on the planet. There's even a 7-day free trial happening right now. It's time for the quickfire round, and the director of Tekken has been beaten at his own game, literally by Lily Pichu. She took on the gaming legend at the Sajam Tekken Slam Beta Pro exhibition at EVO 2024, and well, just take a look for yourselves.
The shoulder again! Oh, the rainbow! Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Now, bear in mind, she's no Tekken expert herself. Her in-game rank translates to something like Platinum rank, and she hasn't even been playing long, which makes the feat even more impressive. Either way, what a stylish way to attend your first EVO. Moving on, a new clip from Arcane Season 2 has just dropped. And from first impressions, is that Canon making an appearance? Oh, no, wait, Heimerdinger has just gone full ninja. To be frank, the scene really doesn't give anything away, other than to remind us that Arcane is beautifully animated, that Season 2 drops later this year, and if you haven't checked out the first yet, you should go do it right now. And finally, an Elden Ring player has defeated Consort Radahn at Rune level 1 without using a single Shadow Tree fragment. It took Interloper 1 3 days and about 20 hours to complete, and you can watch the entire 7-minute battle on his YouTube channel. That's if you want to be massively impressed and want to feel woefully inadequate at the exact same time. And that is the show. We'll be back on Wednesday for more gaming news, so like and subscribe because there's a load more content on this channel, some that does feature this face and some that does not.